All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Darius Anucauskas, and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. Look, today is Friday, the last trading day of the week, but also the last trading day of November, ladies and gentlemen. But not for cryptos. Cryptos are still open Saturday and Sunday, so we'll have some movement there as well. And this is exactly what I want to pick up on in this session because I want to look at what's happening with all our major beloved Bitcoins, Ethereums, and Ripples, and all the other ones. We're going to look at how November went through for them. Yeah, we'll go from there, ladies and gentlemen. Look, before we go any further, as always, quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, yes, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'm not going to disappear anywhere. So yeah, we had a bit of a crazy month, I would say, for the cryptos, and we saw their major declines, I would say. But to be honest, that was kind of welcomed in my opinion because, well, who wants to buy those cryptos, when they're at their peaks. Look, before we also just a quick mentioning of our Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's straight away jump into the charts and what we're seeing here. So, we're basically seeing a nice little recovery here from around the 23rd of November. We started seeing this one reversing back up. Now, from basically the end of last week, this one started pushing back up, and after hitting the area below the 83,000 zone, and actually, I think it was briefly. No, let me just double check. No, sorry, it didn't even briefly drop below 80,000 zone. It just remained above the 80,000. So from here, it rebounded, and now it's back above the 90,000 zone. So a little bit of a roller coaster ride, in my opinion, but certainly let's see if this is gonna stick because look, let's go from the beginning. The month here, you see, we started off at around 100, a little bit above 110,000, and well, actually a little bit below the 110,000. There we go. I have to reiterate that. So we started there. Then we had a little push, and it was just a downfall for the cryptos. It kind of wiped out. It wiped out the gains from, well, most of the year in a way, from when we had that April major decline in the stock market because of the tariff announcement, and then we saw the cryptos rallying, especially Bitcoin here. And look at this, Bitcoin did wipe out most of the gains made this year. And let me just double check. So we started off the year here at this point here, and actually look at this, we are in negative territory for now, at least for now. We started off at one point, we were gaining around not a full 35%, and look at this, just with the activity in November, we wiped out the gains made this year. Now we're going into December, and I think that this is going to be a critical month to see actually if if Bitcoin will be able to kind of gain something, by the end of this year. Otherwise, well, it's going to be a little bit of a disaster in my opinion because we haven't seen such a movement, such like let's say negative activity throughout the whole year, well, for a while now. And let me just double check 2021 here because that one had some volatility. Look at this. So even in 2021 December here, we still gained somewhat here, like, oh, actually somewhat, not a full 60% we gained, right? Then we went into 2022. Let me just double check what happened here with 2022. I think 2022 was a bad year. There we go. You can see straight away that was a big decline, 60% decline. So hey, what can I say? So I don't think, of course, we're not going to get something like that this year, but What's interesting that we're gonna get the somewhere, like I said, bouncing around the zero line. Now, again, like I said, December will be an interesting one to see which way we're gonna go. Are we actually gonna rebound and push back up a little bit to gain something for this year, or actually we're gonna end up in the negative? So we'll see. We'll keep on monitoring, but certainly November is already a lost case. Going into December, will be it will be quite interesting to see what's going to happen. If the cryptos will react positively, for example, to the Fed's upcoming rate cut. Now, if that's the case, then certainly we'll see. Like I said, we'll see 2025 still kind of in a positive territory, for Bitcoin. That said, let's not over speculate. Okay, first of all, if we just purely approach this one from the technical side, then you'll see that, well, the downside scenario is not off the table because we have a couple of downside lines which could provide resistance. So basically, this could happen. I mean, this move could happen this way, where we could see a push higher, but then if the downside line holds here, this downside line, by the way, is taken from the high of the 28th of October. Again, it's a tentative line. Don't get me wrong, it's not the most significant one. The other one is also on the tentative side, but nevertheless, we don't know. Maybe they will carry some significance. So that's why we still have to kind of keep them on the chart. So for me to get a little bit more excited with the upside, I would actually prefer to see a push back above the 99 zone at least. If I can get that push, and 99,000, I mean, if we can get that push, actually, I'm going to start considering slightly higher areas. At the moment, we're kind of on the right track, I would say, but let's not, like I said, get too excited because if I apply my beloved Fibonacci here from this peak, from the highest point of actually, is this the highest point? No, sorry, the high of the 11th of November to the lowest point of November, then you'll see that we are actually approaching 50% here, and that's kind of a golden middle here, and the 50% is around the 94,000. So if the 94,000 provides strong resistance, I think that there could be another round of declines here. Again, will it be a severe decline? I don't know. I mean, but again, the only thing that I know that we are approaching a key area of resistance around here, around this 50% on the Fibonacci retracement drawn this way. Let me just double check something from the all-time high to see where we are at the 23.6, 38.2. Well, that's already a little bit above that, but I think that let's keep it a little bit more realistic here. So I think that this is a better way to draw the Fibonacci. So around the 94,000 zone, I think that this is where the traders will, the bulls and the bears will meet in a big battle, and we'll see which one will win. But for now, the trajectory, of course, the short-term, very short-term trajectory is still to the upside. Let's have a look at Bitcoin Cash. Now, this one I like. I mean, it's kind of moving a little bit independently from Bitcoin, which I do applaud to. And the structure here looks a little bit more bullish because it's kind of forming something of a bullish flag. We have our pole, we have our little flag correction, which in a way also could be seen maybe as a falling wedge here, which tends to be a bullish indication, but certainly it's too early yet. So I'll put it this way: if in the near term we have ourselves a nice push above the 550 territory, I will slowly start aiming to the upside. Ripple, let's have a look at that one. Ripple is also forming something of a bullish flag here. We have our pole, we have our kind of sideways action here, which looks like a flag, and in a way that's kind of potentially forming something interesting here for the bulls. So let's see if we can move higher. If we can, then let's see if we can break this steeper downside line drawn from the high of the 5th of October. If we can clear that one, and we can clear the 50-day EMA, which coincides nicely with this downside line. And by the way, we can see that the 50-day EMA has been seen as a good area of resistance. If we can clear all that, great. I'm leaning towards higher areas. Ethereum, similar story. We're pushing higher, but we have approached the key area of resistance around the 3,058 zone. Let's see if we can clear, or let's see if we can stay above that today. If we can, I'm leaning towards a larger correction back up towards this downside line taken from the high of the 7th of October. If that gets cleared, wonderful. I'll go to the upside. Litecoin. Litecoin looks a little bit bearish to me, to be honest. Although I like Litecoin, but at this point, look, as long as we stay below the 90.30 zone right here, I'm still going to lean towards the downside on Litecoin. Dogecoin. Now, this one's interesting. It's kind of, it climbed back above the 0.1430 zone right here. It stayed above it. So, in a way, everything is pointing for a larger correction back up towards this downside line taken from the high of the 13th of September. And if we do somehow surpass this 20-day SMA within the Bollinger Band, then yes, I'm going to lean towards the this downside line. Polkadot, very quickly on that one. This one's really trying hard to climb back above this 2.35 zone. Let's see if we can stay above it. We're currently above it, but let's see if we can stay above that. And finally, Tron, ladies and gentlemen, going for that larger correction back up. I talked about it. I said that if we do clear this 0.2775 territory, we kind of push and stay above it, then we can go for a larger correction back up towards this downside line, which is drawn from the high of the 7th of October. So then the big question is, can we clear this this downside line? If we can, wonderful. I will go higher. If we somehow fall back below the 0.2775, that's where it kind of becomes a little bit, edgy, sketchy, or whatever the word is, whatever the adjective is. But it becomes a little bit. I would become a little bit more careful with examining the upside, because it could drag itself back down towards the current lowest point of November, and if that gets cleared, a forthcoming lower low will be confirmed. But at the moment, we are flirting, we're approaching the downside line. Let's see if we can actually clear it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is my little crypto update for November. I will see you now in December. We'll look at how cryptos can behave in December. So like I said, keep your eyes on that Bitcoin and where it's gonna go in December. If it's gonna go for a little bit of a corrective move back up, then certainly yes, maybe we can end the year at least in positive territory, just by a little bit. We had some good gains, but we wiped them all out in November. So let's see if the bulls have the upper hand in December. Maybe those lower interest rates could help out, because that could weaken the US dollar. And this is where the cryptos denominated in US dollar could benefit in a way. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed this session. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, your views, your likes, your comments, everything. So yeah, I shall see you in December now. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and bye-bye.